Okay, we finally got him out of the package. Um, this helmet is amazing. This thing actually, um, this mask. There we go. It's kind of, it's kind of stiff, but it's actually a visor. Isn't that awesome? That is just the cream of the crop right there. Um, and here's his big pull weapon, Morning Star mace. Uh, Looks very awesome. I noticed that a lot of my fantasy and um, uh, figures, and even though this isn't fantasy, this is a historical figure. But I noticed a lot of them actually come with maces. I don't know why the mace is such a pivotal weapon uh, to give to people, as opposed to like a spear or something. But um, maybe they just think it looks more intimidating or something. Apparently, I think the mace was kind of cheap to use back in the olden times. So, but here's his extra hands that he came with. I forgot to mention these because uh, because my last three didn't come with hands. So, see, there's a resting hand. You get fisted hands, which are pretty damn cool. Um, for a guy that comes with so many weapons, you get fisted hands. Um, so yeah, let's take a look over at him some more. I love the whole lion motif that this guy has. Even though how I explained that I don't think it's very historically accurate, because I'm pretty sure that that the guys that were meant to fight beasts or other animals and stuff in the gladiatorial times, that was actually really just still an elaborate form of execution, because they didn't really give them any chance whatsoever to fight back. Um, but you can see all this detail in them. You can see the belt piece. It's got the lion mold in there. Um, his skirt piece has like scale armor that kind of adorns it. Um, yeah, you can see the big lion pauldron. I love that. And then here are the two swords. These really cool, uh, almost kind of Greek-looking swords. Um, they did say that he was Celtic, so I think in some ways they could be Celtic, but they don't really look Roman. Um, but I think these swords are really cool. I think they're hands down way better than the Gladius that the other ones came with. But I feel like the other ones were more historically accurate than this. I think what they're trying to go for with this guy is they're trying to they're trying to make him uh, uh, well, they're trying to base him off of the last guy that Russell Crowe fights in the Gladiator. Um, the last guy that he fights, the really big guy that Russell Crowe slams the axe into his foot. So, okay, so let's do some comparisons. Can't speak today. let's do some comparisons. Okay, here's some comparisons with them. We have at complete random, we have Snakeface from Masters of the Universe Classics. I threw that in there just because this guy kind of reminds me of Medusa. And I know Roman and Greek aren't the same thing, but since Roman is so similar to Greek, and they took a lot from the Greeks, I decided just to put him in there, just just based on that alone, really. But again, like I said, when talking about these guys, I mentioned that like the beauty of gladiators is that you can pretty much kind of throw anybody into the pit and then have these guys fighting them. There's a lot of Masters of the Universe type stuff that goes along with gladiators. I mean, if you think about it, these guys were like the ultimate generic guy uh, who would be just in there, and you could see them fighting anybody. You know, um, uh, that's why oftentimes, even though it's historically inaccurate, oftentimes you see them being depicted as fighting beasts because people wanted to see them fighting anything, not just guy on guy or storylines or this and that. There's so many gladiator type stuff where like a guy goes into the ring, he comes out killing the biggest baddest guy, and then the crowd's cheering, and then they love him now because he beat everybody. So um, and then the guy who has more importance is my favorite version of He-Man is Snake Armor He-Man alongside of him. Uh, I chose him because if you look at Snake Armor He-Man, his armor is very resembles that very much so of a gladiator. It's asymmetrical. It's got the big pauldron right here. It's got the arm weapon. A lot of these guys, a lot of the gladiators would have like their arms padded up. You know, um, to be like a thing of armor. Not all the times were they made of metal. A lot of times they were just made of like thick cloth. Like you'd be surprised at how much just thick cloth does to protect you against blades. Doesn't really protect against axes or like heavy chopping swords. But if you're talking about stuff that's mostly used for thrusting, like a gladius or hell, even the swords that he has on his back, then 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 they'll protect you pretty well if you just have thick padded cloth. So um, so yeah, you could definitely see like the gladiator inspired look that this version of He-Man has. I really hope that someday we maybe get this version of He-Man in the Origins line. I think that would just be awesome. Almost dropped my phone there for a minute. I think that would just be awesome, just amazing. God, I love this helmet though. This I love how like it's an elaborate helmet and yet it's got the blank Michael Myers um, face onto it. So just very intimidating. I remember the guy from the last fight in the Gladiator. He had a helmet like that as well, where it would have a face. It had a face plate, and then the face plate was just a blank face. And I always thought that was pretty creepy. Just to have a helmet resembling a blank face instead of like something more scary like a skull or something like that. Just there's just a very ominous look that just a blank face has, as opposed to like a skull or something maybe more overtly terrifying. So let's do some more comparisons. All right, and at complete random, I have him next to Old Man Logan and the Revelation Spike Ore. Um, I guess this guy really is just a tall figure because these Revelations are pretty tall. They're a little bit taller uh, than the classics actually. So that's interesting that he's either as tall or maybe even slightly taller than him. I know the helmet makes him look tall, so it's hard to tell, but still. So we have those guys just at complete random. Like I said before, it's easy to like think of these guys as generic characters and throw them basically into anything. Let's do one more comparison and then I'll call it a day. Okay, and here's my final comparison. Since they said that he fights Beast, the only large enough animal I have to scale with this um, scaling of figures is a polar bear. So I just thought I'd compare him to a polar bear, and you can see that the polar bear is quite massive. So, um, I mean, I don't know how they would be able to get a polar bear in this day and in this time period, but apparently I think they got animals from like just all over. So, um, so the world probably was just a lot more connected than people realized back then. All right, so that's gonna be it for today. Have a good one. And just remember to keep collecting.